My name is Anastasia Klevets, and actually I'm also from St. Petersburg, so looking forward to the tour of my colleague tomorrow. And today I'll tell you about Quir Berlin, some places that are related to the queer history of Berlin, some monuments, but there are not so many, so we'll be talking also about the former clubs, bars, and places that were important for the queer culture of Berlin, mostly 20th century. Right, so since it's not like a lecture, but more as more like a tour, we can make it a bit more interactive. Exactly, so it would be cool if you turn on at least video and I can see your reactions and yeah, if not voices, but that would help me a lot. And also, you can ask questions. Please feel free to do so. Also, you don't have to keep them till the very end, but you can also interact with me and ask your questions during my stories. Right. So our plan for today. That's a little bit of structure that we are going to have. Mostly by periods is divided, yeah. So first it's like end of 19th century till the end of First World War, basically till the golden 20s. As far as I know, you had already lecture about LGBT and gay movements in Germany, right? But of course I will be mentioning them as well, but not that deep, right? Then golden 20s, wonderful time. Paradise and dreamland of LGBT community. Yeah, maybe now we are approaching that position that the community had that days back. So we'll be talking about this time a lot because it was very interesting time, very intense, and lots of things to discuss. Then Nazi time. Unfortunately, also a lot of things to tell, but in a not that positive way anymore. Then West and East Germany, after it has been divided after the Second World War, there was a bit difference between them, and I probably know about that. And then finally reunited Germany, back again. Also, we are going not only to look at the pictures in my presentation, but also to look on Google Maps and Google Panorama and so on. So geographically, here is the map. The black dots are the places that I'm going to mention. Here is Berlin. Yeah, unfortunately, it takes some time. So here is Berlin. So as you can see, it's mostly center, of course, of Berlin, and not only center, but also mostly it's concentrated in one area called Schöneberg. And of course, I'll be talking about it. But still, you can see more dots outside this area. And of course, there are many more. Yeah, I think you can Google queer map of Berlin, and you will find there like tens and tens dots. Especially nowadays, there are many more, but these are like the most important places that I'm going to talk about. Right, so let's go back to our presentation and take a look. First person and first monument related to him. So first period, it's still 19th century, and year 1871, that's when German Empire finally was organized as Second Reich, yeah, so-called Second German Empire. And of course, lots of changes in the law system, and very unfortunately known paragraph 175 was introduced, where it was forbidden, yeah, to have any one sex. No, it was not about relationship, but mostly about sex and penetrating sex. Yeah, so it was described pretty detailed, as Germans like. So that was the first step towards this official persecution of gay people. And at the same time, of course, first was not just not, you couldn't call it a movement, but a person. People started to doubt that, to discuss it, and one of them, like most prominent person or most prominent figure of that period, was Magnus Hirschfeld. I bet you heard this name. First Institute for Sexual Science, and you can see on the bottom the year 1919. Yeah, so here this. Can you see my mouse by any chance? Don't hear you, but okay, I see. Yeah, so you can see. So here is the guy himself, and here is his friend and partner. So the rumors say that Magnus Hirschfeld himself was homosexual, but he never came out as such. So we don't know for sure how he would describe himself. But yeah, he has his partners, his friends. They called him Einstein of sex. Yeah, so he knew everything about it, probably. And he came up with this idea of different genders, of equality, of variety of sexual preferences, and that everything is normal. Yeah, and that gay people were born as such, and you can't punish them for that. Yeah? So they started a campaign to abolish this paragraph, and like end of 20s, they almost managed to convince German parliament to cancel this paragraph, but unfortunately that was also the time when Nazis already came into power, and they didn't manage to. Yeah, but still, that was a very important movement, of course, and you can see on the bottom also its official name. It was called First Gay Emancipation Movement, and here is a memorial to it. Let me show you first where it is situated. I'm going back to our maps, and it is here on this black dot above the Tiergarten. Yeah, here it is. On the quay, on the bank of the river. Why is it there? Because the institute was situated actually nearby, across the river, here on the territory of park nowadays. And the monument itself, well, most of the monuments actually more or less more than once, 2000 or 2010, yeah, after the reunification of Germany, they started to appear, and this one is one of them. And here we can see Kalla lilies, so they call it. So probably, maybe someone knows why these lilies, why these flowers were chosen for the monument. Is there any, do you have any ideas? You can write if you are shy to talk loud. Like, imagine we have an actual tour, yeah, and you're standing in front of, or I'm standing in front of you and trying to ask you some questions. Sorry for that. All right, so probably no ideas. Then I will tell you. The feature of the flower is that on one plant you have male and female flowers at the same time. Yeah, so that was a perfect symbol of this gender variety and sexual variety as well. Yeah, so that's why it is flowers. And as you can see, they're also colored in colors of rainbow. So that's another point. And nearby, here on the right, you can see these gray stands, yeah, like plaques, where the history of the movement is written also in two languages, English and German. And here is another picture of Magnus Hirschfeld. Here he is, this guy sitting, and yeah, interesting people. He's surrounded by interesting people. Many of them are cross-dressed, yeah, or like a transvestite, you can call them. And that was period of 20s already. You can see on the bottom. Time where there were so many places for gay and in general LGBT community, and they had like transvestite balls and transvestite bands or gay balls and gay clubs. And actually, that period was very, very intense in terms of nightlife. And we're going to talk about it. But in the first, I'd like to show you where it is situated, actually, because, I mean, probably not all of you have been to Berlin or remember, even if you have to. So this already, we are coming to the area of Schöneberg, and it's here, Nollendorfplatz is the metro station there, like probably the center of that life. And I'm going to show you on the Google panoramic views how it looks. Yeah. So here we are. Some of the buildings on these panoramic views going to be blurred because in Germany there are quite strict rules about privacy, and sometimes people say, no, we don't want our building on the maps, and then they blur it. So here is the square. This is the U-Bahn, so this is the metro line and metro station pavilion. That's how the square in front of metro looks like. Can you go there? Why it doesn't go there? Interesting. So this is the Metropole. That's another theater that appeared also in the beginning of 20th century. And as you can see, it's a quite big building. It was even criticized for its pompous style, too grand, too big. Let's try one. Aha, so this is better. Yeah. Now we are on the road. So the metro line goes along the Kleiststrasse here. Yeah. Pretty ordinary, yeah, area. You don't see anything special. If you don't know the history of this area, probably, yeah, you wouldn't notice anything. Only if you're very attentive and you look closely to the details, like for example, this pencil, yeah, in the middle, you can see it's also colored in colors of rainbow. So Metropole was also famous, quite known for its parties. Was closed as many places in the middle of 20th century, Nazi time as well. And in 2000, it became known because it, for a while, not a long time, but it hosted Kit Kat club parties, sex and kink parties, but not for a long time. And they just came back to operating last year. Probably not the best time to open another theater. Yeah, so here is the metro pavilion, and there we go. And to the right is we'll be going like a main street. Here it's a pretty old Google view. Yeah, you can see just also like an ordinary street, but recently they make it more. Sorry. Pedestrian. Here. Yeah, it looks like that. So this, the view to the street that I mentioned, this is like heart of Schöneberg, yeah? This is the street along which all these cafes and bars, many places here you can see. And here is the square. On the weekends, they have a market there. Yeah? There is also a cafe. Yeah, this is the view backwards. And here is another street. They also call it like main gay streets of the area. And area is the main gay area of Berlin. So that should be like really gay area. As you can see, well, here. Eisenachstrasse. Yeah, so it's this one, this street, and you can see Tom's Bar, the name here. So this is a gay bar, and here on the corner, if we stay here, I would say every second door would be something related to the gay culture. That might be shop, or yeah, so here is a Tom Bar. Yeah. This we don't really see, but this is also a gay bar. Now it's called Romeo and Romeo. Yeah, here it's a military store, but that was a long time ago. Now it's also, but even here you can see, yeah, the rainbow flags and so on. So it is quite gay even nowadays, and that was the case in 20s. Yeah. Also, area was very attractive to quite many famous people, and here we can see David Bowie and Iggy Pop. Yeah, but they lived already. That was West Berlin, so it's not 20s, but still. When I looked at Iggy Pop, I was always thinking, like, how he managed to keep such a good shape. I mean, not even a gram of extra fat on his body. And then I read that he had a special diet. Yeah, he was sitting on a diet from whiskey and cocaine. So probably not for everyone, but still, yeah. And they were actually almost flatmates. They were living in one building, but just one above another. So, and another very known person, Marlene Dietrich, also the same area. And she was giving performances in one of the, well, not theaters, but it was actually a club, yeah, we can call it club, in 20s. Yeah, but so another known person, Christopher Isherwood. And we can now, like, not judge, but yeah, have this idea of Berlin of the time from the movie Cabaret, which is based on his book. And the title of the book you can see on the bottom, called Goodbye to Berlin, with Liza Minnelli, quite a famous movie. And the interesting feeling he managed to give us is this mixture of freedom, of liberty, of this intensive nightlife, and yet at the same time of already Nazi coming into power. Yeah. So sometimes they call it golden 20s, but in fact they were gilded 20s mostly. Yeah, because it was a difficult time from economical point of view as well. Yeah, there was end of First World War. And here is the picture by Otto Dix. It's like triptych, yeah. And in the middle we can see these people dancing, yeah, having fun, like forgetting almost themselves in these furious dances. And left and right places, yeah, the streets that they were taking to come to this party. Here to the left, yeah, there is a guy with no legs. Obviously, he's like veteran from the war, invalid, yeah. And on the right as well, beggar asking for money, because there was a time of inflation. You know, very often many people, they were taking payments not with money, but with food. Because if you are paid with marks, yeah, with money, and then till the moment when you go to the shop, the price is already like 10 times higher, and you can't buy anything. Or, for example, workers on the factories, when they were giving their salaries, they were given as well, like sometime an hour, to go to the store straight away. Otherwise, if you wait till the end of the working day, your money costing. Yeah, they were like billions, they were counting billions. So it was pretty hard time. There is also a series, it's a German series called Babylon Berlin. It's quite famous as well, so probably you heard as well. It also can give you the feeling of that period. Very controversial, very complex, but with lots of opportunities, with also disappointments, and yeah, gay culture was one of them. Here is probably like one of the most also known persons of that period. Her name was Anita Berber, you can see on the bottom. To left and right, these are her photos, pictures, and to the right is the painting, the picture by Otto Dix. Otto Dix was a quite quite known, very known and talented painter of that period. So in his pictures we can see these reflections on that time as well. They called her enfant terrible of that time. She was living with a woman partner. Her partner was a woman, but she was more or less bisexual, you can call her probably. But when she was asked about her sexual preferences or sexual orientations, or if she is the same, many other people, they were giving more or less the same answer. This question is not up to date anymore. You can't ask it. Well, it doesn't really matter. You can't ask this question. And for example, there was another person called Valeta Gersk. She was also a dancer, performer. Her principle was to marry only gay people. Yeah, as a husband, you can have a partner, you can have a good friend, but she was dating, and as a sexual partner, she would have girls. Yeah, so that was the time. Even nowadays, we just coming to this idea, and even not everywhere. But yeah, that was even the 20s, long time ago. And here is the atmosphere of that parties that can give you some ideas how it was look like. And one of the most famous places for gay parties and travesty parties was El Dorado. Most fashionable. Yeah, for example, Marlene Dietrich was performing right here in one of the nights as well. That's how it looked from the outside. So this is year 32. And unfortunately, year 33, it's been already closed. And nowadays, let me show you. Sorry. One more time. No, does it look? It's a bit slow, right? What happened? Sorry for this. Yeah, so nowadays there is just a supermarket. Yeah, well, they took the name, so you can see here, Im El Dorado. But okay, so it doesn't really work. Let's go back. Yeah, and here is the transvestite at the party, and among them there is only one girl. Probably you can guess the girl there. Can you? Well, I mean, except for these two guys that are obviously stuck.
I'm very sorry, it was my mistake, but because I started this video from my own account and not from premium account, so it will probably end now.
Yeah, but we lost kind of something. All right, so from those who are here, can you guess where the woman is here? Which one is a cisgender woman, let's say? Oh, I mean, except apart from these two guys that are obviously guys, there are 5 other girls, but only one of them is actually girl. Can you guess which one? Any ideas?
Maybe the one cisgender man in the middle.
Yeah, I would think it's so too, but no, it's the one standing to the right. the tall one. So imagine how well they were dressing up, yeah, those guys in Eldorado clubs. They even had this kind of, let's say, game or competition, yeah. They had this system of dancing partners. On the entrance, you would buy several tokens, if you as a visitor, yeah. And during the evening, you would give these tokens to the people, to the girls that you would like to dance with. And some of those girls were not girls, but men. And that was like their achievement to dress so well so that other guests would consider them girls. Yeah. And in the end, they would count how many tokens they earned during the night. Yeah. And that's the popularity, let's say, ratings of 20th, beginning of 20th century. Yeah. Another place, which was also very known, was called Kleist Casino. This is also year 33, so we have pictures already pretty late ones, but still. And this place, well, of course, they also had these events, balls, and transvestite evenings and things like that, but mostly it was known for the male prostitution there. Well, nowadays we would call this, that days back they would call it like boy for a night or something like that. And this place was popular among Nazi party as well. And you can see here the picture of Ernst Röhm. He was the head of SA. They call it Storm Detachment. In English, we would call it, yeah? Or brown shirts, another nickname, let's say. He was a closest person to Hitler, and he wouldn't even hide his homosexuality. They were attending this place, and when in year 33 it was closed amongst around 120 other gay places, Ernst Röhm went to Hitler and complained personally to him about this event, and several places were opened back. Like 12 places were opened back, and Kleist Casino among them. So especially for you, but not for a long time, because very soon Ernst Röhm was killed, actually murdered. Later I'm going to tell this story as well. And all the places were closed back again. So not for long. And another place, also very known, it's called Nationalhof. And let me show you the area. So unfortunately, almost nothing survived since that time because the building was demolished. Maybe just that column that we've seen. So here is the area, yeah, Schöneberg, and you see several black dots. And this black dot is Nationalhof, Nationalhof, yeah, it's there. So a bit on the edge already of the region, on the border with another region. Oh, sorry, I have troubles with my laptop. Unfortunately, it's not working. It's very slow now. Okay, let's wait. So Nationalhof, Nationalhof, yeah. Active. If you watch Babylon Berlin, you can see they would do it like every second day or something, probably to forget about that horrible life that they had during the day. One of the options. But this place was different because they were also politically active. Yeah? The place hosted a group, gay theater, and they were also discussing the political changes in the country, and also they would do a campaign against this paragraph 175 to cancel that, to abolish this paragraph, and so on. And second, also important feature of the place was the lesbian events. They hosted a club called Violetta, and they had also lesbian.
I'm sorry, I think the presentation is just paused. Maybe we can. Можете ее перезапустить? Reload it.
Oh no, that's gonna take forever.
No, just demonstration of
How do I do
display.
this? Yeah, I think it's something wrong with Zoom. Okay, I press escape and let's see if it helps, but it doesn't. So what else I can press?
Это у всех так или только у меня зависло?
Zoom meetings не отвечает.
У всех.
Это хорошо.
I'm trying to fix it. So let's try again.
А только меня выкинуло или всех?
Only you.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay, just some technical problems.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Can you? All right, good. So here is the building from outside, yeah, and as you can see, only the column reminds us about that time. And here how it looked from inside, and you can see the interiors. Quite fancy, yeah, rich. Yeah, you can imagine people sitting there with their coffees, with their drinks. Yeah. And what was happening there during the night? Also, one of the balls, well, for obvious reasons, we don't have that many pictures from inside, but just to give you some input to use your imagination. Yeah, you can imagine how it was going, the music. And here is the poster for lesbian event, lesbian ball in National Nationalhof. And also across the street that I showed you, there was another club called Dorian Gray, and you can see also poster to the right. Was a very famous place for lesbians now. Yeah? So the thing is that these places like Nationalhof and Dorian Gray, they were also politically active, and they had these groups of activists trying to bring this question of discussion about the paragraph 175 and creating this picture of LGBT, of queer people as normal people, yeah, that they're exactly the same. They're also they live this bourgeois life, and we saw these streets of Schöneberg, or some of them, at least, and you could see these buildings that remain from that time. You can see, yeah, they're pretty rich buildings, yeah, and even now it's not so cheap to live in that area. And at the same time, they had this wild nightlife with male prostitution and people doing crazy stuff with their cocaine, with like all these sexual, you know, things. And of course, like these pictures, they kind of, yeah, like they were trying to distance apart from each other, yeah. So those bourgeois gays and movements and those these people, they were saying no. These guys, they are kind of, no, gay people are not like that, and nothing's gonna happen if you let them live their life and have their partners in life. It's not gonna, you know, explode and go outside of the streets and, you know, take over the whole city and so on, yeah. So there was also this contradiction inside the gay community. Well, you couldn't even call it gay community. At some point, it was even like fashion of that time as well. Yeah, that was nice and quite strong life apart from the nightclubs. Yeah, so a lot of newspapers, a lot of journals for gay people, for discussing different topics, questions, genders. Yeah, so there was this. That's what we experience nowadays. Yeah, that was coming to our lives. But that was a century ago. Can you imagine? Yeah, this kind of level of discussions. Yeah. So here you see to the left is a special newspaper for lesbians, and to the right is the first gay magazine. Yeah, in Berlin was issued, and there were in total there were over 100 newspapers, magazines, and so on. Yeah. So quite intensive life until year 33. Yeah, and that was also a little bit terrifying. Yeah, not everyone was ready for this level of liberty in their private lives and also in their, yeah, in the city next to them, at the streets next to them. Yeah, so many people were, of course, thinking these kind of perverse and seduced people. They, you know, debauch people and so on. They're gonna, you know, spoil everyone around. Let them give a chance. So National Socialistic Party and Adolf Hitler, they got a lot of support in closing down this side of life. So this is the day of triumph of Nazi Party. You can see they're marching through the Brandenburger Gate with their torches, and looks, well, to me, even on the picture, that looks a little bit scary, especially when I know what was happening after that. Yeah, what came next. So first of all, of course, everything was closed. In one day, almost in one night, SS and SA, they came to all these gay places, and that's it, close it down. And then, of course, Institute for Sexual Science. Sounds like you're going to corrupt and seduce your children. Rhetorics that we also can hear sometimes even nowadays. So, of course, everything was closed down. The books were burned. And Magnus Hirschfeld, that I mentioned in the beginning, he had to run. He had to immigrate. He went to France, to Paris, and he died there very soon after. So not a long time he lived. And actually, there was quite complicated relationship with homosexuality inside the Nazi party. Yeah, so I mentioned already Ernst Röhm. Here they're standing together with Adolf Hitler. Probably you can recognize this guy. So Ernst Röhm was, well, you can call it open gay. And here he is a bit in his late already period. So he had this hamster, a little bit hamster face, and maybe a little bit this beer belly. But everyone says that when he was younger, he was much more handsome, and he had this very strong erotic charisma, they call it. Yeah. So in fact, SA, yeah, that's storm detachment. Штурмовые отряды по-русски, может быть, да, будет понятнее. A lot of high-ranked officials, they were, especially in that segment, yeah, they were gay, they were homosexual, without even hiding that much. And for example, Ernst Röhm, he was accused 3 times. They were using paragraph 175 against him, and all these 3 times he was justified. Yeah, so nothing happened to him because he was quite an important guy. And there was this idea that this is a man's brotherhood. Yeah, it's like a German eros finding its way out. And especially if you look in some pictures of Nazi time, yeah, like paintings and art, you can see this quite, strong eros in the men's bodies, because there was this idea of this ideal of men's body, and they were presenting everywhere. So at some point it was also kind of part of maybe gay influence as well. Also, this side of life within Nazi party itself was exaggerated from 2 sides. One side was opponents of Nazi party, socialists and communists. They were saying, like, are you going to vote for these kind of people? They're gay themselves, and like they're gonna ruin everything and spoil everything at all. And from the second side, later it was exaggerated by Hitler and SS themselves. Why? To justify the repressions against SA. Because soon after Hitler became chancellor, Night of Long Knives, they call it, followed. It was year 34, in which Ernst Röhm and more than 100 of other high-ranked men were killed, murdered, basically. Yeah? And that's how SS got the power. Yeah? So SA were diminished to the position of young teachers, organizations, and so on. Yeah, so like instructors for Hitlerjugend and so on. So they had no power anymore. So basically, that was question of power. Yeah, and the fact that many of them were gay were like justifying these facts. These actions, like he's gay and he's betrayer. So that means that all the gays are betrayers. Yeah, that's kind of logic, if you follow me, which is not logical at all, but that's how they presented it. So all gays are betrayers. That means we need to kill all the gays. Very easy, right? So that was the first part. And also, since, there was this homosexuality. There was this homosexuality within within Nazi party. That means that it can come back again, and we need to protect our men from this, disease. So we need to be really cruel to the gay people. Otherwise, they're gonna sneak back into the Nazi party, and we are the example to the whole humanity, to the whole world. How can we be gay? This is not possible, of course. Yeah. And another question was family. Family is not just a family. It's not your private question. Family is the basis of the society. Yeah, that's where the society begins. And also that's where new, clean, pure Aryan people come from. Yeah, so both parties, men and women, should be white, Aryan, German, race. They were checked several generations back, and that's how they come together and they give a birth to like a proper next generations. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So, of course, it's not like in your private life you're gay and then your family. No, as a gay, you couldn't have family because then you're going to pass your, spoiled genetic code to the next generations. It's not going to work. No, sorry. So you see from many perspectives, there was this attack. Yeah. So this was question of power, question of ideology, and also this ideas of family and so on. So obviously was not possible for gay people to live anymore. And during Nazi time, so it was year 33 to year 45, basically, yeah, when they were responsible for the politics. Oh my gosh. I touched the table, I'm terrified now. Slowly and gradually was the level of repression was increasing. Yeah, so first it was not really against people themselves, but against places. So all the places were shut down, the newspapers and magazines were closed down. But then it became as well against the people. And also the paragraph 175 was changed to a more severe one. Yeah. So if before that was mostly about sex and penetrating sex, then it became any action of sexual character or any dubious action against or towards other men. Let's say even if you touch somehow too tender your friend, you would be already suspect. Yeah. So basically anyone could be taken based on this paragraph. Yeah. So it was dramatically changed. And then gay people were taken to the concentration camps, and you can see on the bottom, and that was end of 30s, beginning of 40s. Yeah? And there they were, of course, on the bottom of the inner concentration camp hierarchy. Yeah? They were like almost untouchable. They would do the hardest work, and if some other categories would do it as a punishment, gay people would do it just on a regular basis. Also, a lot of medical experiments. They were thinking to cure this disease. So how can you do it? Probably we can inject them male hormones, and then they would become more male, more masculine, and then they would cure. Yeah, so they would do that, and then send them to a prostitute. And then if you had a prostitute, if you had a sexual act with a prostitute, that might be proof that you are cured. And then probably they promised you to release, but of course no one did. But later, already like in the middle of the war, lack of men, actually. There was no one to go to war. Yeah. So they were thinking, okay, maybe being gay is not that hard. It's not that severe situation. Maybe we can release some of them and send them to a war. Yeah. So anyway, they're gonna die. So why not there? So there was different, yeah, like different attitude towards them, but still, you can't say that it was any better. Yeah? And year 98, you can see the, remember that cupola of the metro of U-Bahn, yeah, of the metro station at Nollendorfplatz. A memorial plaque was installed there called Pink Triangle. And here you can see closer how it looks. Yeah, so on the top, what is actually written there? Beaten to death, passed over in silence. Yeah? So silence is death, actually. So they're homosexual victims of Nazi regime. And also you can see some numbers, because it would be pretty hard to understand them by listening. So arrested around 100, 50,000 convicted, that means, yeah, accused and put in prisons and jails. And hard to say, but 5,000 to 15,000, they were sent to concentration camps, and most of them died there because of very hard, of course, conditions. And no one counted, because of course there was this programs, yeah, in psychiatric clinics, euthanasia, you know, not only gay people, but some other categories, you know, some mental problems or handicapped people and so on, to clean the nation, let's say, national genetic code. So no one counted them. Yeah. So I believe you know why that memorial looks like that. Yeah, it refers to the pink triangles that were badges, you know, different categories of prisoners. They had badges of different colors and shapes, so mostly triangles, and you can see they could be also be combined, different categories. And here on the right is the memorial in the Dachau concentration camp, and appear here 68. That was already the time of Republic of Deutschland, German Republic, and GDR. So this is symbol of solidarity, yeah? Of prisoners' solidarity in that hard conditions that they had to live and had to survive. There are different colors of these badges except for 3. There is no black triangle. Black were asocial elements, means behaved in a not appropriate manner. Very often they were women, for example, prostitutes, also male prostitutes, and so on. Also lesbians were counted as asocial behavior. So there was no repressions like on the same level against lesbians as it was against gay people, against gays. Well, it was still pretty hard to leave them that days for women in general and lesbians in particular. Yeah, and then there is no green triangle. Green were professional criminals, yeah? Thieves and robbers and so on, that were caught not already one time but several times. The idea was that these are criminals in any regime, yeah. So they are just criminals. Why would we commemorate them? It's not like something special. But the last category is pink triangle, of course. So these 3, they are not, you know, the not first rank of citizens, even during the after Nazi time, yeah, during the in West Germany as well. I mean, in any country, actually, in any regime, why would you commemorate criminals or even gay? So unfortunately, after the Nazi regime, for gay people, it was not any better. So there was a difference between, like, slight difference between West Germany and East Germany. And surprisingly, not in favor of West territories. They didn't even change the paragraph 175 after the Nazis changes. Yeah, it was remained the same, pretty severe. So technically, that means there was still the same. There was forbidden. So, and many homosexual people from the concentration camp, they were just released and they were moved to another prisons for exactly the same acts, right? It was decriminalized only year 69, and some, yeah, bars start opening or some movements, activists appeared, but the real changes, some changes started after year 71. And you can see here's the title, well, of the book and of the movie actually, was made by, you can see on the bottom, Rosa von Trondheim. not a homosexual is perverted, but the situation in which he lives. And that was a quite powerful movie, actually, that inspired many, many homosexual people and many other categories of people. It was not tender talk to them, yeah, like, oh, poor you, what a shame that this happened to you, which of course it was, but it was blaming them, you know, in being cowards and staying there and keep in silence and doing nothing and changing nothing. So after that, there were like big discussions. Of course, you know, people said no, didn't like to be, you know, to get these pictures of the picture of themselves in this way. And several movements appeared and situations started to change. New initiatives and groups starting to flourish. But probably you heard about that already, yeah, in your lecture, because there are so many of them. And one of them is Frauenzentrum Schokofabrik or Schokoladefabrik. Right. Let's try Google Maps one more time. And this one is situated not in Schönenberg already, but in other area called Kreuzberg. Yeah, and you can see it's there, yeah, so a little bit outside. So this is like a center for women, especially migrant women. And that area, this area is quite migrant with migrant background, especially from Muslim countries. And for women, it was pretty hard. They had nowhere to go in case of, for example, domestic violence or to learn something. Yeah, it was not so easy for women, and that was the place. And what is more, even more, they have a sauna there, Turkish hammam for women. Looks amazing. We'll definitely go there. Unfortunately, it's closed now. Yeah, and so for a very long time, gay people were not recognized as a persecuted group, yeah, during the Nazi time, and the situation started to change only in the 80s, actually, yeah, in West Berlin. But same was actually same applies for East Germany as well. And another very quite known place is Gay Museum or Schwules Museum. You can see on the bottom here, 84. And yeah, the idea was to represent not just, you know, the sex side of gay life, of course, but different sides of their life, yeah, the culture, to show people that gay people are actually people, first of all, and then gay. Yeah? So it shows their, but probably you also heard already, yeah, this was told about it. And the idea was that people will understand this, yeah, will get to know gay culture, and that means they will afraid of it less, yeah, not scared of it anymore that much, and probably tolerate them better, yeah. So that's the main idea, and it started as a exhibition about the bar El Dorado that I talked about in the beginning, and then it developed in the museum that collaborates with the German Historical Museum, and Markisch Museum is a museum of Berlin area, let's say, yeah, which is pretty cool, of course. And a little bit different situation was in East Germany. So they actually changed the paragraph, yeah, so they brought it back to the version of Weimar Republic of 20s, yeah, before Nazi time. So it was not that severe. And also they tried to distance themselves from the Nazis as far as possible. So if the Nazis were oppressing and repressing gay people, we don't. And these Western guys in West Germany, they also do it. So they are actually these successors of Nazis. Yeah, they're the same fascists as the previous ones. So that's why we protect our people. We build the wall. So it was part of propaganda as well. Yeah. So for example, I have some numbers for you here. Year 49 to year 68, at the West Territories, 50,000 people were convicted. Yeah, gay people were convicted using this paragraph 175. Well, if you remember the numbers of Nazi time, it's basically the same number. So, exactly, not a big difference. And the same time, whereas in East Germany was only 4,000. So like 10,000 less than in West Germany. At the same time, it doesn't mean that it was allowed. No, as many other sides of life, it was regulated, and unofficially it was forbidden. So many people were still accused and put in prisons, jails, and so on, but they were accused using different paragraphs. Yeah, just used as an excuse, something else, but in fact, they would be still convicted as gay people. And also the was not allowed to open any bars, any other places, to have any civil initiatives, and so on, so on. Yeah, so basically it was more or less same situation, but not official one. Yeah? So that was the main difference. And also year 68, it was decriminalized. Yeah, so technically, yeah, was no equal and so on, but of course still a lot of prejudice and yeah, still a lot of work. And in East Germany, it started from churches. Yeah, probably because Protestant church was also under oppression. Yeah? Officially, the country was atheistic. So many groups, many activists were gathering in the churches in different, like in Leipzig, yeah, not only in Berlin, but in Berlin as well. And here is the church that was quite politically active in Berlin. And I will show it to you on the map. It's the one on the top. Yeah, here you see on the. Oh, here I have just like black squares. Am I talking to myself? Oh, no, I see one person. Okay. All right. So here the black dot on the top of the map. It's the area called Prenzlauer Berg. So the group of lesbians started together there, and they called themselves later lesbians in the church. But that's this church was also famous because they had also civil initiative for reunification of Berlin and of Germany in general. They were quite active, you know, like issuing manifestos and some like small booklets, let's say, papers, and several two priests of the church, they had to resign because they conducted a service, church service, common for Protestant and Catholics. Yeah? So for their ecumenistic position. Yeah, and then finally, reunification, year 90, and all these topics, like many topics, started to come up, and also about the gay persecuted under Nazism. And finally, a monument appeared. Took, like, as you can see, 18 years after reunification for different projects and discussions and so on, and finally up to monument itself. And sorry, coming back again to the map. Let's pretend that we actually have a tour. Yeah, so this is this dot here at the edge of the park, big park called Tiergarten, and several monuments are concentrated here. So first you can see Denkmal für, yeah, so the Holocaust Memorial, so-called, yeah, and also here in the corner there is a a memorial to Roman and Sinti people, also persecuted during the Nazi time. Yeah, so this is like a small corner about the Nazi regime. This is a concrete cuboid, you can call it cube, and there is a window. Yeah? Here is the window. If you look through it, you will see a film there of two kissing men. And there was a lot of critics about this monument, and probably you can guess two main topics. So first was why only men? Yeah, as always. Where are the women? Was it so easy for them to live during the Nazi time? Yeah, why only men kissing there? And why is it only to gay people? And what about other categories of people and lesbians first of all, but also transgenders and these and those? Like they're not included. Yeah, it's not that inclusive monument in this year 2008 already. No one thought about it. The authors were saying that it's not document of the epoch, but it's their perception and interpretation of the time, so they can do whatever they like. If you don't like, you go and create your own monument, but they actually change a little bit every 2 years. They change the film in the window, and now every 2 years another film shows also kissing women. Yeah, so it was like this. All right, let's have at least different movies there. Another topic is it's too close to the Holocaust memorial, to the memorial to the Jewish persecuted under Nazi. Some Jewish people say that it's kind of diminished the sufferings of Jewish people. Yeah, so there was this Holocaust. Can you imagine so many people, Jewish people, millions of them, they died and they were persecuted. And you call it Holocaust. Yeah, there is this also like term called Holocaust. It's a Holocaust of homosexual people. You can't use it because it's completely different scale. You cannot compare. Yeah, like our group is suffered more than your group, and like yeah, it's a bit weird. Also topic and logic. But of course, it's not the official point of view. It's just some from here and there, from different groups. These critics come, but actually, Jewish society sponsored this memorial and also keeps it running, like repair and so on. So it's not like all the Jewish are like that. Yeah, it's just some around these monuments. Yeah, some conversations and discussions coming up. And another also very important thing about this monument is that 3 times within like first couple of years that it was installed, it was vandalized. Yeah, the screen was broken, the window was broken as well, and some graffiti is around here and there and so on. So, of course, every time after that, oh, sorry, I didn't know it's going to react. Every time, of course, it gets repaired and some manifest protests against the vandalism take place. But as we can see, there is still tension inside the society, within the society, and quite strong opposition to the gay rights and gay movements and so on. Yeah? So still a lot of things, a lot of way to go. And here is another monument that's already, we are going back to the Schöneberg. And I took this picture like 3 days ago. I went there, I took the picture, and as you can see, yeah. So this is International Stelle Always Remember, and that's about the victims of HIV. This topic was largely discussed during the 80s, especially in West Germany. and East Germany, it was hidden as well. A lot of things were hidden in East territories. Yeah, so in West Germany, it was quite a strong movement, and a big group was organized, yeah, HIV. So they installed this monument here 2010, you can see. and it also gets this graffitis and vandalized. Because even now, although it's been already like 30 years, right, even more, there is this idea that HIV or AIDS, it's something that only gay and other perverts can get. And if you're just normal, humble, and have a normal family, then you, of course, you don't get it. So, yeah, hard topic. But what about gay area nowadays? Looks much better. Yeah, you can see lots of rainbow flags, and this is like the most important customer of the place. And very often, especially in Schöneberg area, because it's still quite gay area, it looks like more like a marketing than something serious. But some places are specialized for gay and fetish culture. Also very popular. Kit Kat Club, in cooperation with Kit Kat Club, is like a sign of quality, because it's maybe most famous kink club and kinky parties in Berlin. Gay fetish cruising bars, men only, like 2 in one building. And here also you can see between them, here this sign is actually Association of Gays and Lesbians of Germany. It was organized in 80s, also West Germany, and then they kind of came together with some Eastern activists. And now it's like one of the main organizations. Here, well, that's the thing that I like, gay cruising fetish bar, and you going there in mask. This is a little bit, well, of course, that's the only thing that you can get there. And the area itself is very vibrant, is very colorful, is full of life and street art, and this life is everywhere. Interesting architecture. A lot of buildings were ruined during the Second World War. So you can see also projects from 70s and even from modern contemporary architecture and so on, but still also a lot of architecture from that time, from beginning of 20th century, a lot of also things and so on. So it's very alive, let's say, very alive area of Berlin, and very colorful, and interesting. Right, so to conclude, let's say, what did we learn? Interesting in Germany was that we had this period of 20s where, was very advanced, these ideas circulating, the ideas that we are coming to nowadays, right? And still we feel like we are so free to think like, doesn't matter gender, doesn't matter sexual orientation, this division between sex, gender, and sexual orientation, and so on. We're just, in Western world, just discovering it. And that was already there. That has been already there in Berlin in 20s, but so rapidly it came to nothing. It was, everything was shut down and so on. So it happens very fast. Even though we feel like now we are on the top, and we are so developed and advanced, it can come back very quickly, especially in times of economic crisis. It was after First World War, and there was already this anticipation of the Second World War. So we need to be very careful. Also, these monuments that they started to come end of 80s and 2000s. Feels like, Germany is a very developed country, but still, yet there is this strong opposition and resistance. So there is still a lot of things to do. But at the same time, fight for rights and activist movements is not the only thing that we experience in our lives. There's a lot of colors and a lot of things to do. All right, thank you very much for your attention. Is there anyone still here?
Thank you so much.
And we will thank you too. Thank you.
Right. I hope you was